Yep, good evening. So last session we learned about all class related concepts, life cycle hooks we discussed. So after understanding that in React till now you saw how to manage data binding and all, but all internally how React can do. And this is little bit complex. How the way React have to manage everything is complex. So we need to depend on some third parties. So first we will see here how we can handle form and validations. In React way, how we can do, how React can manage forms and validations. In React way, if we have to do, we need to write a lot of logic. That means lot of functions, lot of logic events we need to write manually if you want to design forms and validations. Let's see that first. And we will see how we can simplify that, how to simplify that, right? Let's see. First, we will see how we can handle the forms and validations. Actually, React uses lot of methods, actually lot of functions and events to handle forms and validation. We already know what is validation. Generally, to handle validation, we need a lot of functions. Validation is nothing but, so validation is the process of verifying user input. So validation is required to ensure that contradictory and unauthorized data is not get stored into database. That is the main concept. That means generally when we are designing forms, we need validation. What is the purpose of validation is to make sure that contradictory and unauthorized data is not stored. Contradictory means the data, the type what they are expecting and the data type what we are sending are not matching. That is contradictory. Unauthorized means they are expecting certain limits and rules for data and you are not matching. That is unauthorized. So contradictory and unauthorized data should not store in database. For that, we need to set up a form with validations. Actually, React handles validations using a lot of functions. This is heavy on React. That is the reason it depends on third party. Let's see. First, we will see one example how React can handle validation by itself without any help of third parties. For that, how to design a form. Let's see. We will create a new form. We will create a component here. I will add the component. So by name, form validation dot component dot js. So this is a folder, right? This is just folder name. In form validation is the folder name. Form validation is the folder, and we will add a new file, form validation.component.js. Okay. Now let's write a simple function. So form validation component. And in this, we will just keep a simple form. Let's design a form. Now, currently we will just design the form and validation. In the next level, we will work with some backend database. That means we will work with real data. For that, we will learn how to create data in MongoDB and how to write a server-side application in Node.js, how to create our own APIs and communicate with those APIs. Communicate with those APIs means we can read the data, we can insert the data and handle. Actually, many times people learn this concept by using JWT tokens. So there are JW tokens. By using that, they try. That means in general concepts, you can install one local database. In that, you can maintain some JSON data and you can read and write. But it is good if you know complete API hierarchy and try. Right? We can use that JW token also, or we can create our own APIs and do. We will do that. How to create our own APIs and how to interact with the data in the backend, we will see. For that, first we need to be perfect in working with forms. So we designed a form. In that, we are adding some fields like name, and the input type is text. And here we have another age. This is also input type as text. And here we have some mobile. That is also input type text. Now what we want here is we have a button and this is submit. So this is class some BTN primary. Okay. Now this is a simple form. We will keep in startup form validation component. Now this is the design of the form validation. We will keep a heading also here. Let's just keep a heading, some register user. That is the basic heading we have. And let's add container fluid. Now you can see this is there. Okay. Now this is a simple form we created. Now what we want is whenever user tries to submit the data, submit the form, we should collect all the details and submit. But before submitting, it should verify whether the data is as per requirement. So first point, how to submit the data, how we can submit the data. Second, how we can set validations for the data. Validation means name is mandatory. It cannot be empty. So suppose name length cannot be more than 10-15 characters. Age must be within some range. It must be a number. Or mobile must be in certain format. It cannot change. All such validations we want. Then how to design a form and validation. This is regular work of React developers. We need to design forms and set validation. You need to be perfect in that. Suppose I am adding one more, means different elements, like suppose city, and here we have select. So we have an option, select your city. Now we have option So Delhi, and we have option Hyderabad like this. The first thing, we need to collect all the data from this form. Then what we will do, first we will create a user details and a set user details, and we will create a state. In this, it is an object which contains username. It is a string type. It contains age, which is string type. It contains, age is number, and it contains mobile, which is string, and city, that is also string. This is the data we are expecting. So we want this data to be submitted, collected and submitted. So first, how to collect the data? Name must be from username text box. So lengthy process we have to do. What is that process is? We have to write the functions. Function, so name change. On name change, we will collect the data. That means how we can manage. So that is, what is it? Doc, this is all other details. Now set user details in this. Then username comes from e dot target dot value. And what about age? Age comes from user details dot age. And mobile comes from user details dot mobile from the state. And email, what is that? City. City comes from user details dot city. That's the logic. Now the same thing I have to write everywhere. Okay, copy. I will put that here. And this is age change. We have to collect the age. Remember, first step, we need to collect all the details and store them. It's mandatory that to collect all details for every element you need to write on change. Mandatory. There is no other chance, because here you cannot use DOM methods. DOM methods like get element by tag name, get element by IDs, we can't use. So we have to use the basic, change event, right? This is age change. Here name comes from user details dot username, but age will come from e dot target dot value. Similarly, next function, this is mobile change. So here we have user details dot what? Mobile. And here it will get e dot target dot value. Now one more here, we have this one is city change, and here same user details dot username, and city here e dot target dot value. Okay, we are collecting data from all of them. We need to bind everywhere. What you have to do on change is equal to name change. So here on change is equal to age change, and on change here it is the mobile change, and here on change this is a city change. Here I will give this city value as suppose -1 or anything. This is, I said Delhi, and here the value is some Hyderabad. Okay. Now what happens is here, I hope you already learned HTML, and in HTML, you already know that in a form, if you keep any elements along with a submit button, then submit button by default have the ability to submit the form. I hope you know that, right? So that means by default, submit button have the ability to submit the form data. So when you click the submit button, if it is in a form, if you write outside form, all these days we were not using form tag. For text box, buttons, checkbox, radios, we were writing outside form. Because why we are not writing inside form? Because we don't need to post anywhere to API. We have to just handle the interaction here. So if I have to post to any API, we have to do that on submit. And very important, you know that this button type is by default submit, and on submit, it will submit this form. That means if you want to write any functionality when form is submitted, that you have to write not for button click. You have to write for form. We have an event called on submit. Am I right? On submit. On submit, we are using, suppose, form submit. Now we need to write a function here. What is the function? Form submit. This function will fire up when user submits the form. This will fire up when user submits the form. Right now, technically, this is the basic point. Now, see here what we are doing when we are using this, collect all the data and submit to some API. Submitting to API we will do later because we don't have any API. Temporarily, I will put an alert. We will use JSON.stringify, means it will convert into JSON. Which one? User details. This we are defining. That means what I am doing, just converting the data into JSON. Later we will post this data to API, which will store in database. That we will do later. But initially we are writing like this. Remember, this will fire up automatically. You know, in HTML, JavaScript, you learned submit event is not written for button. Submit event is written for which element? Form. And it will work for which button? It will work for submit. Submit button. By default, HTML5 button is what type? Submit. If you want as ordinary button type, then you can define type. Type as what? Button. If you don't give type, by default it is submit type. By default it is submit, and it can submit the form. Okay. Now it is going to do that. Let's enter the details now. Let's see. Now here I'm entering username, and I'm entering some age and details, city and all, and click on submit. It should submit all the data here. That means it have to collect the username. So username is not entered. Somewhere username is missed, right? In the logic, on mobile change, we are not doing it. Here we used mobile. This is coming from where? User name. Okay. So now we entered these details and submit. It should submit all the details. Let's run. Yeah. What else change? Mobile value e.target. Yeah, all the target is ready. Fine. Now I entered the details and click on submit. It should get all the details and show the name, the age, and all details. But see, lot of contradictory data. You see, age is a string. age is string. It is submitting here, but our data will reject in the backend. It says that age data type must be a number, but you are sending a string. So these all we need to handle validation. So we want to set some validations. Validations are nothing but, and important is, it is default posting also. How to prevent default posting we learned now. We need to use an event argument. You remembered? We need to use e dot prevent default. I told you now. What is this? Why it is required? Because submit button by default have some functionality. What is that functionality? Submitting all the form data to server. No, it should do only what I asked it to do. Then any default functionality, if it is having, prevent that, stop that. For that, we have to use prevent default. Otherwise, what it will do is it will try to submit the form. You see, it is actually submitting the form. The queries are coming here. The queries are coming here. So it should not be in that way. Then prevent default is important. So you entered the details, and after the details submit, it will get that and it will go. It is not posting anywhere, right? That is okay, but I want validations. So first problem in React is collecting data from elements. For every element, you need an on change. You have to write event, you have to write function, you have to collect the value, and you need to store. Second problem, validation. Validation, for every concept, you have to write logic. For example, if username is not entered and try to submit, it should show a warning. It should not submit. It should show warning that username is required. So username is compulsory to fill. Then how to write the validation? To write the validation, first what we have to do is we will put some messages here. We will create a constant. We will write, so name error. So name error, set name error, and it is use state and it is empty. Actually, we can create one object and you can use it. That also I will tell you. So another constant, this is what? So age error and set age error. Okay, use state, it is also empty because they needs just message, constant mobile error and set mobile error, and use state, it is empty. Now we need a constant that is city error and set city error. So that is all string type. When to verify this, where to display this? We need to display this here inside the data definition. I will add one more class as text danger, and here I will define what is it, name error. Here I will put another data definition. So class text danger. So here we have to say age error. So, and here we have data definition, text danger, and we will keep mobile error. And here we will define another data definition, class text danger, and we will keep here as city error. Okay. Now how to validate them? Messages are okay, but all messages are currently empty. When user submits, before submitting, I need to verify. We need to verify those details. That means before submitting all, we need to verify. So how do we do that? Here, first, we are checking if user details dot user name is equal to empty. That means nothing. Then set name error as username required. This message should come. That is the message we want to display if user don't enter the name. That is one validation message we are showing. So for example, now here, if anyone tries to submit, then it says username required. Username required. So it's compulsory that you have to enter this. So we are writing. Now already I told you, if while typing or after typing, if it is already showing message, you can hide it, right? For that, what you do? We learned now already. So what you can do while changing, username is changing, right? When username is changing, we will write a condition. What is it? If user details dot what? Username is equal to empty, display the message. Or if it is not equal to empty, that means because already empty I written there. If it is not equal to empty or equal to empty, because when user removes the name, it should show that message again, right? Then if it is not equal to empty means it is having, then set name error. Set name error will be empty. That's how we are defining. That means I clicked here, it says name required. I entering some name, then automatically it will hide the message. And for example, if I remove that also, then it should display. Then again, you have to write. Already I showed you those events. Key up, we discussed that. Okay, this is okay. So you are verifying whether name is entered or not. Okay, that is one condition. Okay, let's verify age. Age must be number. So without number, if they try to enter, it should not allow. That means how, suppose it is required and it is number, like that conditions are there. So you have to write multiple. Now, how do you verify? How do we verify whether the value entered is a number or not? We have to use a condition called isNaN. You know, in JavaScript, you learned how to verify whether the value is number or not. IsNaN. If isNaN, what is it? If isNaN, what is that? IsNaN is user details dot age. If it is not a number, set name error, set age error. Age error, we should say age must be a number. Like this, we are writing validation. That means now if it is also required, then we will put a message. That means we can write the condition if it is required, one condition. Suppose you see I'm writing multi-level here. Suppose if user details dot age is equal to empty, then what is it? Set age error. So we define age required. Else, that means it is not empty. It is not empty. Then we will write another condition. If user details dot age is what is it? Is NaN, what is it? User details dot age. If not a number, then we will display another option. What is it? Set age error. So age must be a number. Like this, we are defining. We can write all conditions. That means now what we are doing here. So refresh. I click submit. It says name required as required. I'm entering the name, and after you entered the name, it is disappeared. It is not there. And here we are entering age. When I am entering age and try to submit this, suppose I am entering some string and try to submit, it says age must be number. It is verifying. It's your wish. If you want to verify while typing itself, then you write on change. But we want to verify on submit, then I am writing here. Now, if it is entered correctly, that is okay, right? Whatever the age we entered. And if it is some age entered, then we need to simply hide the message. Hide the message your wish while changing or on blur. On blur means if they finish. So here you can write the same condition again. So what is the condition for age change? We have to write a condition if user details dot age is not equal to empty. If it is not equal to empty, then set age error empty. Don't display any message. And very important, if user details, if user is NaN, am I right? Is NaN, what is it? User details dot age is not a number, then display the message. That means set age error, we will display age must be a number. And else if it is a number, then set age error, we will keep that as empty. We have to verify all the conditions. That means now you see here, this is entered, the name is entered, so that is fine. The age is entered, so then it must be a number. And I am entering the age, then it is okay. We need to verify in all ways. We have to verify in all ways, right? That is okay. Now what about mobile? Mobile should match with a pattern. That means +91, some 10-digit number, it should match with a pattern. Then here on submit, you see when form is submitted, we will verify if user details dot mobile is a string, if it is matching with a regular expression is written in double slash. So regular expression like /+91 and /d and 10-digit number. That means it is starting with +91 and having 10-digit number. If it is matching, then no problem. Then we will say set mobile error is empty. If it is not matching, then set mobile error as invalid mobile. We'll just put invalid mobile. So that means here we will say +91 and 10 digits. Like this we are displaying. Now this is, and of course, if you want to verify that mobile is also compulsory, then what you have to do? So you need to define another condition to verify that mobile is empty or not, right? Usually I am just adding this now. I am writing the name. So I am writing the age. I am entering mobile, and mobile number is 10 digits but not matching. Then it will say invalid. So you should match with +91 and all that content. Here also you have to write on change. On change we have to define. Now when I submit, now it's okay, nothing problem. So same. Now how to verify they selected a city or not? So we have to do one more work. What it is if user details dot city is equal to -1, because first value is -1. That means if they are not selecting a city, then automatically -1 will be stored. You see, I given first city value -1. That means it's not first city, it is first option. That means if they haven't selected any city, then it is -1. So if it is -1, then what should happen? If it is -1, then we will put set city error. So please select your city. This is the message. Otherwise, so set city error as empty. This is the option. Now, if all these conditions are matching, then only we have to submit. Then I think this all must be written in a block, right? That means if all are matching, then only submit. Then you write another if block. In that if block, you have to check all are valid, otherwise submit the form data. So you see now this is also working. Suppose I am selecting this one, first one, and submit. It says please select your city. I am selecting the city, and now I click on submit. It should submit all the data. That means now tell me how to submit the data only when all are valid. Individually, all are verified. Fine. On submit click, it should submit the form data to JSON string 5. We want to do that when only all are valid. What is the condition I should write? That means these are errors, na? If there are no errors, that means if username is mentioned, if age is mentioned and it is not a error, if mobile is mentioned and it is not a error, if city is mentioned and it is not having error, if all conditions matches, then only we submit. Then you have to write a lengthy else if. I hope you know already, right? Means else if, else if, else if, else if. We need to check all the conditions. This is lengthy process. Currently, forms and validations are working fine. But we are doing this in a React way. When you are doing this in a React way, it's lengthy process. Lot of problems are there. Not problems, lot of logic references we have to write. So React developers are not satisfied with this way, but React can do only in this way. This is the only way how React can do, managing the forms, validating the forms. That is the reason what we do is, I will give this example. This is the example for React form and validation with the React native style. This is the native style, React native style. That means its own style, how it manages. This is an example. That means form validation dot component dot JS. Now developers are not satisfied with this lengthy approaches. That's the reason what we do is we depend on several third-party forms. So React people completely depend on third-party forms. There are so many, like we have Telerik and Can-Do forms. We have Telerik and Can-Do forms. We have like Formic forms. We have like Dev Express forms. So many are there. There are so many third parties. It's not guarantee that your company will use what we discussed in class, right? Some companies may purchase third parties and they ask developers to use that. But if you can handle one third party, you can handle others. Only the point is, if you are using a new third party library, just read the documentation, check what are the properties they are providing, what is the type of the properties, what is the syntax, because everything changes. And we are not sure as React developers which form library company will use. But majority of the companies on React are working with some traditional forms like React, Can-Do and Formic. So we will see one Formic. So, and based on that, you have to try others. There are so many types of third-party forms, right? we will see how to use that formic forms. So now let's to use any third party first we will install. So formic forms, we will see how to use this. For that you have to install. How do we install is npm install formic. So save. That's it. In your project, you have to install this. Remember the formic library you are importing and installing, it is only for this project. For every project, you need to do that. So let's do this. Means we will try the same concept with a third party and we will see how it is benefited, how it is different, how it is easy, right? Let's see. First, I will open the terminal. This is the terminal. Okay, and here I will install. So npm install formic. That is formic and save. So we are downloading and installing a third-party library forms. Actually, hundreds of third parties are there. From where this is installed successfully. Okay, from where you can get it. You can search here. You can go to npm.js, npmjs.com. This is Node Package Manager. Here you can search for packages. That means you can search for third parties. For example, I am searching like React forms. And you will see when I search for React forms, see so many they given. React hook form, Redux form, React components form, JSON forms React, formic, form C React, React form input validation, so many. Now, which one your company uses, we don't know. That means majority at MNC level, they don't use these free libraries. They use paid libraries like you have seen Telric. Telric is one popular third party. So Telric is a popular third party. This is Telric. This is saying modern UI made easy. And you see the customers of Telric. These are customers of Telric. NASA is a customer of Telric. Microsoft is a customer of Telric. That means you can imagine their abilities, right? And you have to purchase them. You see, they will give you, let's go to demos. They will give you, they have library for everybody. Angular, React, Java, .NET, PHP, Python for everybody. You see, Angular, jQuery, React, Vue. We go to React and you can see in React, they will provide grids, they will provide charts, they will provide forms. Now, why to provide a form if already form is there in HTML? Right? If already form is there, already text boxes are there, then why to provide a third-party library for form? Because of the headache we are having with React forms. That means lot of logic, lot of events, lot of binding mechanism. These third parties will try to reduce that from React. That is one of the major drawback of React, because library is always not with sufficient functionalities that you need in your way. You need to depend on third parties. So this is one I will show you now. Let's use this formic. Already I installed formic and see it says build forms in React without tiers. Because they know that you will get tiers once you see the React forms. Understood? Because they know that how much pain they will give to a React developer. Right? Already it is a lot of pain here. Right? If they ask you to design a lengthy registration form, obviously you will cry. Right? So that is why there's those intelligent people said that don't get tiers. We have a library for you, right? So because we know that this is very complicated concept, right? In a React way to do. Let's do it in a simple way now. Let's go and we will create another component. I will give the component folder formic demo. Okay. Add a new file, formic demo dot component dot js, and let's create a simple component export function. So formic demo component. Okay. And here this is a function. Yep. And let's create the same design first. I will take the previous form validation design. Design is same. I will take the same design. Right. Let's copy this design. And here I will keep that here. So return and the design. In this, I will remove these errors related that we will do later. So this is a div is missing, right? Okay, now I will remove these functions first. Just only design, let me take only the design for the elements. These errors, all these things we will delete. Means same design I am taking. Let's clean up this code on change and all. And even about the state also now we need to change. So city error and all. Okay, fine. Now this is clean with only design is there. Now I will go and keep this formic demo component. Okay. So this is a formic demo component working fine. Same. Design is same. But now how to collect the data from the form and how to submit the data. Previously, what we have to do, lot of on change events we have to write manually and store in state, right? Now see what we are doing here is we are collecting the formic demo, right? Here we are importing. So we have to import. So there is a hook use formic from formic. Now formic provides a hook use formic. And remember, use formic is not a general React hook. It is a third party hook. That means many times in your companies, you will see such hooks and you cannot come with a complaint that you haven't taught me this. Why? Because several hooks are custom built. That means we build our own hooks for functionality. And those hooks, you will not get help anywhere, right? We will learn about how to use the hooks provided by React. We will also learn how to create our own hooks for different requirements. We will see that. And when you see that, then you will understand that every hook that you see on a project is not React. It is developed by those developers according to their requirements. So this is a hook which is not native of React. It is coming from a library called formic. So what we have to do now, we need to implement this. That means we need to configure this. How this is defined, how it is configured. That means before exploring any library, first you have to know about the library. That means before you use, you need to know about the library. That means how to use a library, because I am showing formic. If your company using something else, they will provide a readme file. They will provide a help document. You have to read it. You need to know. Suppose you are doing from this website, then what you do? You open that library, They will provide a link to their official documentation. You see, this is a link for their official documentations. This is the page. You can visit their page. You can see what properties they provide, what options they provide. And based on that, you can configure, right? As of now, you see here, what we are doing is we are declaring constant, and in the constant we define formic. Formic is equal to use formic. That means it is a form initializing. Formic is going to initialize the form. That means now this formic hook provides some members properties. What are those properties? Here you see. There are so many properties. We will discuss one by one. First important property formic is having initial values. Initial values indicates what are the values you want to maintain for form that you have to mention. Initial values is an object. This object mentions what are the values you want to maintain for form. You tell me, you know now. What is username? Its type is string. What else? Age. It is number. What else? Mobile. It is string. What else? City. City is a string. That is the initial values. These are the initial values. Okay. Next, as of now, we just mentioned what are the values it have to deal. Okay. Now, how it will collect these values? How it will collect these values? And how it will store those values, right? Now, what we do is we use here on change. Am I right? On change, formic have handle change event. Have you written this event? No. It have that event which already collects the data. That's it. That means you don't need to write any methods, functions. That means already they written it, just like how we written now. That means now what you have to do, just on change. What is it? Formic dot handle change. That means here also on change. So formic dot handle change. We have to handle change. Now similarly here also on change is equal to formic dot handle change. That means we are just defining this. Now when form submitted, we need to collect all the data. That means now form have an event on submit is formic dot handle submit. Handle submit, and see here on handle submit, here we need to write that submit, what functionality should be performed. That means we write on submit. On submit is a function which will collect all the values. After collecting the values, it is a function. I am writing a shorthand way. It will collect values. Values means these initial values. And submit where? Alert JSON dot what? String file. What to submit? Values. It should submit the values. That's it. Done. That means your form is ready to collect the data and submit the data to server. That means now you see here. Now you see here. I'm entering the details. I'm entering the details. I'm entering age. I'm entering something like +91. I selected a city and click on submit. It gets the data. But remember, it is submitting empty. Why? Because some more are there here. Now that means this formic may have some rules. What are the rules? Some rules like whenever you are dealing with these elements, how the formic can read this value. On change you are saying, but how it can read this value? In the background of this function, they might have written e dot target dot value. They might have written that, or we don't know how they written. Some people may write like that. Some people, what they do is they will collect your control details, not by value. They will control you, they will collect your details by name. Is it necessary to collect by value? They may be using a name reference. With reference of name, they may be collecting value. We don't know. That depends on complete the third party. That means here name is what? Username. This name is what? This name is age. This name is what? This is mobile. This name is what? So this name is city. City. Now here I am entering the details. I am entering the details, some name and some age, some mobile and some city, and submit. Now it is submitting. That completely depends on different libraries, because we know that it needs name, I told you, but every library not like that. In the previous form, is there a name? No, we haven't given a name, but it's worked because that's our logic, right? We are collecting with reference of value, right? This is very important. Every third party is not like that. That means we need to manage all this. From where you will learn, you have to learn and explore all these from their documentation. You need to go to their official resources, read the documents and update yourself. Because remember, even today I am showing you Formic and in React 18. By that time we finish and one more version may come. And this Formic people may update some new features. Then you have to explore by yourself, right? So we are giving you help in making you understand how it can handle, right? But every third party will not have same syntax, same features. They will be changing. Now I hope you saw that this looks more better. So much better. Here you are just defining. You are not writing any change functions. You just using ready-made initial values. That means all this is written for you. You are just using it. You are just using. Now, in the same way, they provided a lot of concept for even validations. For validations, that means what you can do, you can easily handle the validations for every element using this technique. See here, just I will show you one point. This is the Formic official repository now. You can see this is the Formic official repository. When I select this, you can see it will show you the complete information about Formic. And it will give you all the information about how to use it. Am I right? Means how to handle the options, how to handle the values. That means it is going to give all the information. Now, how actually this is only just a point. You can read the documents. They will provide so many things. That means now you go to validation, arrays, TypeScript, native, submission, basics, so many examples. And it is not standard. Next version may add some more new things. They may change. You need to keep updated. That means you see the validation, how they given. I will explain in the class. So many validation types are there. Actually, you see in the validation, that means to handle the validation, they given a small technique. Technique is nothing but, so they given a simple technique of validation. Technique of validation is nothing but I will tell you. So actually for that, they have to use some validation functions, right? Suppose you see, I will show you here, components and all are required actually. I will show you one simple point technique here. Later we will design a screen. For actually for validations, if you want validations for them, Then you see you have an option is validate. And what is this validate? They given some validate. And what is the type of this validate? You can see this validate is actually, observe here, it is a property. And this validate property is collecting all the values and verifying. And remember, its return type, return type is void, it return type is an object, and it return type is an promise. It is having a return type, that means it is obviously a function. Am I right? Obviously it is a function. It is a function. That means you can see it is a function and it is expecting values. It is a function which is expecting that values. That means whatever values are there, we pass the values. And what this function can do, it can collect the values, it will identify the problems and report the problems. That means here again we can simplify this in a more simple way also. We can simplify this in a more simple way. Remember, in Formic itself, there are almost 20, 30 type of algorithms. That means according to your project, which one suits, you can implement that. You don't need to follow the same. They will say that, is this difficult? Then another simple way is there. They will say that, is it not matching your requirement? Another technique is there. They will give wide range of availabilities. You have to implement them. Validations, I will tell you. First, we need to understand how to submit the forms. Means how to collect the data and how do we submit the data. So what are the basic rules here? You installed it. Now, next step, in order to use it, first thing, you have to import Formic base class. So you have to import that here. I will just give you import Formic from which library? Formic. Okay, I'm just giving the syntaxes here. Second point, you need to create a reference for Formic. So we have to create a reference for Formic. And how do we create a reference for Formic? Constant. So that is Formic is equal to use Formic. Actually, this is use Formic. Right, use Formic. That is a hook. Okay. So this is use Formic and it is having some properties. What are the Formic properties? That means here these are called, so these are Formic properties. And what are the properties of Formic? Formic properties are nothing but, so Formic properties, we have the properties like initial values. Initial values configures the form data. Form data means what are the values you want to submit in the form data. Next, we have on blur is there. On blur is there. Actually, this is not just on blur. This is handle blur. Handle blur is there. It is nothing but it configures actions on element blur. We have on change. That means handle change. We used this one, but it is not necessary to use change. You can write Formic.handle blur. Then when it will verify when it is losing the focus. We have two options. We have blur, change. That means what it will do, it will configure actions on element, value, change. We have another option, handle submit. What handle submit will do? Handle submit is nothing but it defines actions to perform. So perform when form submitted. There is another option, validate. Validate is nothing but it uses validation function. validation function that actually returns validation errors. It returns validation errors. How to write that functions we will learn. Again, problem is every validation function you have to write here. Validation function you have to write. That means is name empty, is nan age. Every function you have to write. If you feel this not satisfying, they have another technique. Without writing function also you can do. For that they provide services. You can inject those services and you can make it more simplified. I will show you all the techniques. We have validate and we have actually validation schema. Validation schema is nothing but it uses predefined validation services, which I will explain. All validation schemas, how it uses. These are all important properties of Formic. By using these, we can make forms and validations in a very simple way. Technically, one example I am just showing you, just submitting. So submitting form data using Formic. Formic, how we can submit. This is example I will give. Formic demo. .component.js. I will add this one. This is the code. That means we are configuring that and displaying. Now here, how we can handle the validations, how we can simplify the validations in Formic, we will see. But related to this Formic, others, third parties, you check, right? I will just give you only on Formic, you try others. You can't try Telric and all because they are paid services. You better go on npm.js, search for third parties and you try them, right? So because Telric and all are paid sources, you can't even trial also. For trial, you have to register, log in, so much work is there. So you just try this free third party. Now we will see another point, how to handle validations using Formic. What are the various techniques that we'll see next session, right? So Monday, we will finish forms and validations. Once we finish forms and validations, now we will go into very important topic, routing. We will learn about how to create a perfect single page application with routing. Then we will use backend integration with Formic and routing, right? That we'll see in Monday.